Hello, I'm Simon Spalter, and welcome to the latest of our videos. This afternoon, we've got Rory McCutcheon with us from the LTA. He heads the competition team and has recently been doing lots of competitions through the summer. Welcome, Rory.
Hi, Simon. Good to see you.
So, Rory, tell me how you got to where you are now. You're obviously working within the LTA. What's your background? And maybe you can just define for us properly what you actually do at the LTA.
Yeah, no worries. So, firstly, I've always played tennis. I've always loved tennis. I've played tennis since the age of 4. Um, been a member at my local club, Sutton Coldfield Tennis Club, which is in Warwickshire, for that long. Sort of left school at 16. Studied GCSEs, left school at 16, and then did a couple of A levels at college, which I sort of combined with tennis coaching, doing my sort of tennis coaching qualifications, but also sort of tried to get involved with as many different things at my club as possible. So I did things like helping with stringing rackets, got involved on the committee, helped run a few competitions, became qualified as an official, did things like gym inductions, just tried to get involved in as many different paths at the club as possible. Because as you know, with tennis, it's sort of there's lots of different routes you can go down
Sure.
within the sport. So that was one thing I tried to do. Then had a couple of part-time roles with the county association as tournament coordinator.
Yes.
Did a sort of combine that with a bit of part-time coaching as well. And then it was in 2009 actually that I got a full-time role with the LTA, and that was based in Warwickshire, and I was their county administrator. Year later, went on to become the tennis development officer for Warwickshire and Hereford and Worcestershire, it was at the time.
Yes.
And then in 2014, became one of the regional competition coordinators. And then in 2018, went on to become, with my current role, which is competition manager for team competition. So in my current role, I sort of oversee all team competitions, all the way from a sort of local level through to a national level. And that'll be sort of whether you're looking to compete as part of a team for your school, for your club, or for your county. Anything sort of team related in that area would fall under my remit.
Okay, and do you have a team that works with you? Because it's a pretty big role that you're
Yeah,
looking at it from a national perspective, and I'm sure you still get to go to the local events, but you must have quite a big team.
I do. So, I mean, there's obviously a big competition team. There's obviously Jenny McInerney Vincent, who sort of is the head of competition. So she heads up the team.
Yes.
Um, Within my specific team, sort of sub team, if you like, there's 2 others. There's Julie Piper, who sort of looks after all the county cup area, and then there's Rebecca Brooke, who sort of manages the schools competitions and sort of work closely with me on the club side of things as well. But there's about
Okay,
15 of us in the competition team.
I'm
Sort
sure.
of all look at sort of all the different areas across, international and national competition, recreational competition, regional and county level events, officiating, and sort of competition support as well.
So what are some of the highlights that you'd like to sort of talk about that have happened sort of this year and recently, and then will happen for next year, hopefully even bigger and better than this year? As successful as I'm sure this year has been, you always want to sort of make things even better.
Absolutely, Simon. And I guess one of the highlights in with sort of my work is within the LTA National League competition, which is a club-based team competition for all ages and abilities, from 8 and under all the way through to over 75s. So
Sure.
whatever age you are, whatever your ability, there's a sort of a league available for you that you can play in. And most recently, we held the LTA National League Open Finals down in Bournemouth, which was our top 8 men's and top 8 women's teams who all came together to be crowned the National League winners for 2024. So that's always a highlight of mine in my sort of annual calendar.
And I can tell you, having been there, aside from the rain, it was very well supported by all the different clubs who were playing, plus some locals. And I think it would be even better if we had even more chat about it throughout the year, how you can go from sort of that local level all the way to these national finals? Because I'm not sure that, from my perception, whether people actually quite get how high you can go.
I think that's it, Simon. And sort of the point is exactly that whatever age, whatever your ability, there is a league for you. Of course, we start off with sort of local leagues, and we have a sort of, in the adult age group, we have sort of promotion and relegation,
Sure,
all the way through to the national tier. But you know, this, as you said, the standard of play at the national finals is obviously, you know, the pinnacle really of club competition. But it's sort of under the same event, if you like, you go all the way down to sort of 8 and under, where you have your sort of recreational club team players playing in their local league as well. So it's sort of that's the great thing about the sort of LTA Youth and National League competition. It is for all ages, all abilities, and you know, it's a great team event.
so you can find a place for everyone. Now, do you move the finals around the country? Or I know it's obviously based on capacity and court availability and the correct surfaces, but how do you do that? Obviously, it was at Bournemouth this year. Would you move it
Yeah.
around, or is it always in Bournemouth?
Yeah, so since I've been involved, it has always been at the West Hands Club in Bournemouth. That's the open finals. We do our junior finals in Roehampton at the National Tennis Centre. Those take place in July. And then we also have our seniors National League finals, which this year are actually taking place at Sutton Coldfield.
Right.
But in terms of the finals that you saw recently, they have always been in Bournemouth. I mean, it's always a challenge, obviously, finding a venue that sort of ticks all the boxes for us, with sort of court availability, you know, a nice environment for the players when they're not playing, obviously accommodation locally as well for the players to stay at, and obviously for all a nice place for all the supporters to come to as well. One of the teams there actually from Leicestershire brought along sort of between 40 to 50 supporters with them. Amazing. To support the team. So it creates a really nice sort of atmosphere and a nice environment where everyone's sort of cheering each other on. And
do you, for example, using that as an example, that final, would you have a get together in sort of at one of the evenings where you'd sort of just an informal, like a barbecue or something, just to bring all the teams together, sort of to talk about their progress and their clubs and where they've come from, just to bond things together even more?
Yeah, so what we do is we actually start on the Thursday, which is for practice, and then on the Thursday evening we do a team captains meeting for all 16 team captains.
Yes.
After the team's captains meeting, we then invite all the players to come along, where we do a bit of a presentation of the league stage for the sort of each league winners. We do a Paul Hutchins Commitment Award. You may remember, yes, Paul Hutchins, obviously a hero of British tennis, and we have an award dedicated to him each year for someone who shows sort of all the values that he sort of showed, because Paul actually established the National League competition in the early 2000s. So we do that, and then we did the draw live for all the players. So that creates sort of quite a nice atmosphere, sort of pulling the chips out of the hat, if you like, to see who the teams are then going to play on the Friday and throughout the weekend. So yeah, we do that to bring all the teams together. One other thing we also do, Simon, is on the Friday night we sort of provide a bit of food for all the teams as well, because they can be quite long days at these tournaments, as you know. So it's quite nice to sort of, for the players and the captains, not to have to worry about getting off to get food. They're going to be at the club for most of the day, and we sort of do a bit of an evening meal for everyone as well, which again creates a nice sort of atmosphere.
Fabulous. And obviously there are lots of different competitions and different levels. What time of the year, I think I know, but you can tell me quite correctly, what time of the year do they start, and how many clubs generally enter them each year? Obviously it can vary in different ages and categories, and
of course.
Tell me just very roughly.
Yeah, so the LTA Youth National League competition runs all year round. We have a summer season, which runs sort of from March through to sort of August, finals in September. And then we have a winter season for the junior age groups, running from September to March. So in effect, it is an all year round competition. Across the year, we have around 1,000 venues take part.
Right.
Obviously, all venues must be LTA registered venues to take part. Across the summer and the winter, as a rough guide, it's about 6,000 teams and about 32,000 players, 32,000 unique players would sort of play across the competition all year round. Now, obviously, not all leagues sort of, some leagues might be over a shorter period if you're more on a sort of local level.
Yes.
But in effect, there is the sort of opportunity to play as part of a team for your club for the majority of the year if you choose to do so.
Okay. And you obviously mentioned that there are more competitions as well. You have the county cup, you have the school competitions. That's another part of your remit and something that you're also having to engage with and get involved in. Obviously, school stuff is probably term time.
Yes.
The universities as well, or is that separate?
So universities would be separate.
Okay.
However, sort of the main focus for me from a school's perspective, obviously, which Rebecca leads on, is more secondary school competitions. So
Okay.
we have 3 different secondary schools competitions. We have our national championships, which is basically to sort of crown the top secondary school boys and girls school in the country. And then we have a sort of year 7 and 8 and year 9 and 10 competition and the year 11 to 13 competition as well. So again, whatever age you are within the secondary school environment, you can sort of play as part of a team. Also mentioned County Cup. So County Cup, very similar to the Youth National League, where it runs for all age groups from 8 and under through to over 75s. So a lot of opportunities for you to represent your county. Obviously a very historic competition. We celebrated, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we celebrated the 125th year of Summer County Cup. So it's a very historic competition that takes place on grass for Summer County Week, that is. But obviously all the other age groups and take place involving all 44 county
Well, I'm not
associations.
going to ask you during those 125 years how many different counties have won it, but that would be quite interesting to know whether every county has at least had one winning chance.
That's a good question. I don't think that would be the case. I don't think every county would have had a winner, but you never know. I'd have to sort of relook at the history books. But yeah, certainly a very hot, historic and well established competition is
Yes.
County Cup.
Okay. And anything else in the pipeline? Any new competitions? Everyone's always trying to evolve things, adjust things. Anything new?
So I mentioned at the start about the head of competition, Jenny McInerney Vincent. She's been in post now for just over a year. And sort of one of the first things that she was sort of tasked with by the executive team was to sort of come up with a new 5-year competition strategy.
Yes.
She's been working hard on that over the last sort of 12 months, and she's close to sort of publishing what that would look like. So there's certainly some more exciting stuff to look out for coming soon on that one. But I think from a sort of competition team perspective, it never stops. We've got competitions taking place all weekend, every weekend, up and down the country, whatever that might be, whether it's a sort of national level or a recreational competition, whether it's a local tennis league. We've got the officiating conference coming up sometime soon as well. So there's lots of different competitions happening and lots of events taking place to come.
And I'll assume everything's available, obviously, on the LTA website. I'll assume that if people want to find out more, they can speak to their county. But what is, for somebody who hasn't really been involved, say at a club level, who wants to get involved, they would speak to within the club. What's the best way of getting involved, and how do people find out more?
Good question, and I'd definitely say look on the website as the sort of first point of call. There's lots of information on there about all the different competitions and sort of how you can get involved. If anyone's unsure about anything, they can always contact us via the LTA contact us form, and that will then sort of go to the relevant team member who might look after that specific competition. But absolutely, speak to your club, speak to your county association, and hopefully they can sort of help out or at least point you in the right direction. But lots of resources online as well, which hopefully helps and shows people how they can get involved.
And when it comes to the finals, how do people find out about exactly when the finals are going to be, and exactly, because I saw the high standard of play. How do people get to find out more? Because everybody traditionally has gone to watch Wimbledon. Now people are getting to go to some of the pre-Wimbledon events. Could be Billie Jean King Cup as well, could be Davis Cup as well. But from a standard perspective, there's nothing to stop them going additionally to some of your competitions at that highest level. So how would people find out about that and the publicity
Absolutely.
side of it?
Yeah, absolutely, Simon. And that goes without saying that, of course, we'd love more people, we'd love more spectators. And this is, I guess, one of our challenge, and where we always need to do more in terms of raising the profile of the
Because
competitions.
you have at the highest level, you have some world ranked players.
Yeah, so the National League competition that you mentioned, that you came to across the week, just during the weekend, there was 21 players with an ATP or WTA ranking. So, the standard is high, and of course we need to do more. We try and showcase as much as possible on our social media channels, whether that's Facebook or X. And obviously on the competitions webpage, so competitions.lta.org.uk, you can see all the draws, the results of upcoming competitions, etc. But I definitely agree that we certainly want to try and do more to raise the profile and the awareness of all the competitions that we have taking place.
When you've got information, you can come to us and we'll make sure that all of the clubs know more about it. So thank you very much for everything today. Really, really good.
Pleasure. Thank you, Simon.
And we will see you soon.
Thank you, Simon.